Hello. Hello. It's been a while, hasn't it? It's been a long time. Um I didn't really intend for it to be this long. But like sometimes I just need a break from code and that's not really conducive for making a series or consistency of posts or continuity. It's not really conducive to a lot of things, but sometimes I need a break and sometimes um, I'm provided with a convenient reason to break, which is that you know basically CUD is still if it's very unstable right now is the best way I can put it. It's undergoing many major changes all of the time. Like it's been a lot. There's been a lot of changes, and it's great. I'm really excited about that. But it does also occasionally break my game. I'm not saying that happened. It didn't happen. But I've learned to kind of like work within the rhythms of CUD's updates, and so I decided to wait a little bit. Um, for a major release, and there has been a major release. Um, we're now on the latest version. There's new achievements. There's new CUD jungle stuff. There's new rust wells. There's new red rock. There's new tiles. There's new stuff. There's new enemies. There's new a lot of things. There's tons and tons and tons of new stuff to really get our hands dirty. And what better way than to completely ignore it all? And I am going to play in roleplay mode. I'm not like when I die, but I'm going to ignore it all. And I'm making a truekin. That's right. We're making a truekin with first child of the hearth. I played this pre-gen or pre-made character on stream a week or so ago, and I really enjoyed it. And it's been a long time since I played a Truekin, at least on camera. And I really like this Truekin build. I really like it. It's one of my favorites, if not one of my favorite concept builds in this game. It's rather boring for being one of my favorites, but it kind of harkens back to like my very first encounter with CUD. I'm actually not going to take a pet. I think the pets just kind of like make me feel bad. We're going to start in. I always want to start in the salt dunes. Like always. I think I'm going to start in the salt marsh. I guess we got to start in Jopa because that means I can go to the Rust Wells and Red Rock. Otherwise, I'm just gonna go into like the random dungeons and stuff. But yeah, like basically when I first played CUD, one of the things that like really sold me on it were its limited animations, and one of those limited animations was the slam attack, and this character build is wonderful for that. It has really amazing opportunities for the slam attack. Conceptually, it basically makes it so that instead of attacking with equipment, and I don't even know why they bother to give us a steel mace, to be honest, because we're not going to be using it. We're going to be using our fists. We're going to be using our fists because they are carbide bones. This build is stupidly fun because getting carbide fists like right away is really just insanely good. We can basically build like, and we have a very high starting strength as well. I should say, like we don't have any ego. That's fine. We have a very bad willpower. That's also fine. Our intelligence is low as well. That sucks. That's a bummer, honestly. Might want to change that. Our agility is okay. Our toughness is okay. But basically, all of our eggs are in the proverbial strength basket. And what? Why did we stop? Why do we keep stopping? I wonder what's happening here. Just gonna hold it down at this point. Basically, we tear absolute chunks. We since the carbide hand bones scale infinitely with strength, we start with ridiculous penetration, just kind of like right away, which makes this build like just really, really good. I can't oversell it. I really can't. We would like to eventually get better hand bones for sure. That is the only, I would say, one of the bigger downsides to this build is that since you are reliant on cybernetics, on the cybernetic hand bones, it's going to be a long time before we get to upgrade ourselves. Now, with that being said, it's not really a big deal because the only thing that upgrading hand bones does for us is upgrade damage. Obviously, that's a very important thing. Damage is, of course, very important, but having high penetration is almost better than having high damage because it will... What? Okay. Argive just came out of his hut and beat the crap out of the zealot. Why did you do that, Argive? You just cost me 6,000 experience. Argive, you absolute jerk. I can't believe you. You are a total jerk for that. That was absolutely uncalled for. I'm going to have you identify these grenades. Flaming hand axe, okay. Identify this one. High explosive grenade, that's nice. Defoliant grenade. We'll absolutely give you a defoliant grenade. We'll probably level up. I'm astonished by what just happened there. What just occurred. It's like very uncommon for me. I've never really seen that. But anyway, okay. So we're gonna have to do this with, well, we lose 6,000 experience basically because we don't get our quest with the zealot. Loved by villagers of Joppa, disliked by the daughters of exile. I mean, that's kind of a bummer. I think we can lose a little bit of reputation with them. You swell with the inspiration to name your leather apron. Sure. Name from a random name from your own culture, and I'll make it brown. Tvarth True. We are playing as Pritri Putra. That kind of rolls off the tongue a little bit. I appreciate that. Pritri Putra. Pritri Putra. Let's make friends with our warden, maybe. Admired and loved. I love a good warden who is loved. You love a good loved warden. That's always what you want to see, is a loved warden. So you can love them as well. Hated by the Gersh, disliked by birds. We're fine. Let's make friends with Irodad. They're going to teach us harvestry. We'll get free harvestry. No thank you to anything else, and we're gonna say goodbye. Eat fresh apple mats. So there've been a few interesting developments, and I don't know how I feel about them. I'm a little bit spooked, I gotta say. Witchwood Bark has undergone some major changes. Witchwood Bark, which was my go-to, of course, in the early game for panic button. Our panic button has been nerfed. I would say partially nerfed. My gut reaction to the changes to Witchwood Bark are like, oh no, uh-oh, and other noises like that. But it's maybe I'm 100% kind of over panicking, over frightened of the whole thing. Basically, what has happened is, first of all, Witchwood Bark is no longer a food; it's a med, which is interesting. Pretty much every starting character will begin with witchwood bark, which is also interesting. We're going to go to rust wells first, by the way. We're going to see the new rust wells. There's our first copper wire. Rust wells, I'm going to say it. I love them conceptually. But they are a pain in the butt. They're a pain. Basically, every character starts with witchwood bark now. And Argive and all other kind of apothecarists or apothecaries, I don't know how you want to pluralize apothecarist, they don't sell them as much. So witchwood bark is maybe a little bit less common, a little bit more difficult to get. One of the other reasons, just to interrupt myself for a moment here, one of the reasons I love this build, just in the early game alone, is we don't have a weapon that can get rusted. And it's going to get rusted because Rust Wells is really true to its name now. There's so much kudzu in Rust Wells. It's actually insane. It's ridiculous. We almost died to the young ivory. It almost killed us just now. That was like nasty. So yeah, like you probably want to go to Rust Wells first now, like decidedly, because you unless you have some lacquered items, there's not a lot you really don't want to take anything down there that you can lose, because like look at this, look at all of this kudzu right now. It's insane. There's just so much of it, and it instantly rusts your equipment to dust. It's terrible. Okay, here comes our first slam. It's fitting. Oh, never mind. And there goes all my optimism, my faith and optimism gone. All right, here we're gonna see the nerf to the witchwood bark. You're gonna see what it looks like. We are confused. So we do gain some health. It's less health now. You gain a little bit less health, but it lasts, basically witchwood bark lasts over 3 rounds now instead of just 1. So you don't get one big burst of health. Instead, you get a slightly slower burn. Look at that. We just got ourselves a Puma Chitin vest. What an amazing find in like the first 5 minutes of this game. I'm so happy about this. We did lose our inspired, whatchamacallit, but we have 7 AV. Like, Puma Chitin vest is one of my favorite early game armor. It's just so good. It's worth taking butchery just to get the Puma Chitin vest, because like we keep taking a lot of damage. Oof, please don't die to bleeding. Because its AV is so nice. I gotta pay a bit more attention. I've died in the Rust Wells and also in New Red Rock. New Red Rock is way spicier now. This young ivory is really hurting me a lot. Like, it keeps hurting me. Good God, stop it. So yeah, witchwood bark is a little bit more of a slower burn, which makes it not as good of a panic button. And I don't know how I feel about that. I'm not saying it's a bad decision. I would never say that basically any decision made with Caves of Qud is a bad one. I couldn't possibly. It was just, I for one thing, I don't actually think that. I think that like pretty much everything that's done on Qud is intelligent to the nth degree. Like, there are far more clever people than me thinking this game through to like just, I don't know, how do you even, like, this is tens of thousands of hours of different people's lives have gone into making this game, and it's all good stuff. I can't really say I disagree with anything, but also I guess I would say I don't disagree with the witchwood bark. It just scares me. Okay, I think it's fair to say that it scares me, because a crutch that I had become very accustomed to is now no longer crutchable. It's like if I had to be, if I could be a little bit offensive here for a moment, because I think it's an apt analogy. It's like if I actually had a crutch and someone just cut it short by half a foot, and now I mean, I wouldn't say it doesn't function, but it certainly functions less. No, I wouldn't say it even functions less. I don't know. It's just not. It's not as panic buttonable. It's still a good panic button. Maybe they did that because like they wanted to have a bit more of a functional or mechanical difference between witchwood bark and herberries. Herberries are basically just witchwood bark again, except they give you more health. But I guess like the thing I would ask is, how is witchwood bark now mechanically different from, say, a salt injector? We're gonna slam this I almost said turtle, but no, the spider, electrofugue. Like basically now witchwood bark are functionally act the same as salt injectors, salt tonics. So, and, you know, that's not bad. They're not as good as salt injectors. So I mean, there is a difference, but it just, you know, I guess I'm observing these changes. Okay, we're gonna slam this turtle. The nice thing, this is a rust encrusted claw, a rustation. Rustations are kind of harder. They're you know, this thing is tough. It is actually tough. So I'm not hugely excited about this, to be honest. What is this? Strange tubes. Don't really want to mess with that now. Is that bat angry with us? No, it's not. They are fighting each other. Now it's making its way over here. I was kind of hoping I'd get my slam back. It's dazed. We could use our witchwood bark. I think we can kill this thing. Let's use our witchwood bark. I really don't want to die this early. Why did we equip it? Why is equipping things like the the default? Okay, at least we're still using our hands. There we go. Here's a decision I would say would be a good one. I wish that the rest until healed, also rest until like current negative effects were no longer in effect. Or at least I wish there was a button like that. But you know, like I try and cool it with my wishes when it comes to CUD, because you know, CUD is such a broad game. There's so much possibility for it. That of course anything is possible. Anything, you know, it has the potential to have just about anything you could want in it. I mean, think about it. There's mutants, there's cybernetics, there's nuclear fission laser rifles, there's retro future, there's modern future, there's post-apocalypse, there's post-apocalypse, there's, you know, scientist bears. So you can, of course, wish for anything, but to expect or want it, you know, to seriously to be added to the game is maybe a little bit unreasonable, because, you know, meanwhile the devs, they've got their own ideas of what they want the game to be, and they're not done yet. And absolutely, you know, for myself, I'm very pleased or excited by the prospects of Caves of Qud becoming basically a kitchen sink RPG. It basically already is, but you know, you have to kind of let your wishes stop somewhere. We're gonna slam this blob. because you know, anything could be added and it would be totally valid. Of course, you know, of course, add programmable robots. Why not? Sure. I legitimately suggested that at one point, and it's like, yeah, that sounds like a good mod, and then that made me realize, like, yeah, uh, like, you can add anything to this game, and it's all valid, it's all interesting, it's all good. There's no wrong. There's no wrong when it comes to CUD. Everything is correct and valid, and that's what makes it so special in a way. But you know, therein lies madness also. So we're almost done with Rust Wells. I don't know if I'll be including the red rock in this as well. Let's not die to a centipede. This is our last. Oh, stop equipping. Stop equipping the witchwood bark, please. Eat it. We just unequipped our torch. Okay. That was bad. We are almost level 6 already. That's pretty good. So Rust Wells have become a lot spicier. I have encountered slumberlings at the bottom of Rust Wells. Not that I haven't encountered slumberlings at the bottom of Rust Wells before. It's basically just another cave, like any other cave, and you can encounter just about anything in the Rust Wells. Ooh, I am collecting sap. I like to collect sap. Okay. So you know, it's spicier. You can encounter some pretty vicious things at the bottom. But it's also more interesting. I love the fact that you can now see like what you can see what you're gonna end up encountering, what you can find out what to expect from the get-go, from the very top. And you can make a beeline for the bottom, but there's actually very little benefit to doing that. It is worth going to all the Rust Wells, I think, unless you're, you know, you care about your gear. How much red wire do we have? Not enough. Interesting. I think we have to fully explore that bottom floor. I wasn't going to, but now I think we have to. Actually, have we fully explored this floor? Rust Wells, I will say, is kind of a pain in the butt, though, because I really like just auto exploring. It's my main method of locomotion, basically. And I can't really do it anymore. Not in Rust Wells anyway, because it's just littered with kudzu everywhere. Everywhere there's kudzu. And so you are always getting stopped and started again and attacked by this and that, and then your stuff gets rusted and you lose this and you lose that, and it sucks, and there goes that artifact. And you know, it's just a bummer. Like there's so, like, look at all this kudzu, and look, my steel mace is rusted now. And you don't really want to attack it all, because then you're just gonna, like, your stuff is gonna get rusted even quicker. So that's not ideal. Smack that guy. I'm pretty sure there's probably more wire down here. Also, something that kind of sucks about you know, getting your stuff rusting is you can also have your wire rust, which is a bummer. Like, the thing that you need, the reason you're down here, can also get rusted into dust. Basically destroyed. Yeah, it just happened now. I think it still counts though. Like, it doesn't matter if your wire is rusted. Okay, so I don't know. I guess I'm gonna have to check out another Rust Well, one of the other ones, because I don't have enough wire. We got impaled again. Okay, let's take a look at one of the other Rust Wells. And you can always, like, just look down into it and then say, we're good. Like, down here, I'm pretty sure I see a I'm not sure, but I think that's a saw hander. Kind of looks like a saw hander. You can't, unfortunately, look at stuff. You can only you can see it, but you can't look at it. You know what I mean? So we got our wire on the surface. That's good. All right. So now let's head back to Jopa. We got lost in the hills. My favorite. My favorite. Oh, turtle. Another thing I love. I mean, like, you know, one of the reasons I value. Oof. Took 2 damage from the salt hopper unnecessarily. Let's sprint out of here. This is like 100% bad. This is one of the reasons I cannot stand the hills, is especially this early, is it's like just supremely dangerous. Salt hoppers can tear you up like really good. And I mean, never mind salt hoppers. I'm not a huge fan of encountering like puma chittens either. Although I think those are more flower field encounters. And jungle. Not so much the hill. We have gathering. Ooh, there's some star apples. There's a oh, see, this is not a great Snapjaw Warlord on one side, and then a chameleon on the other is like really not great. We do have the damage though. We can take things out. Getting some star apples. I've come to really appreciate star apples. This is going to be a cooking game for sure. But we need to get our intelligence up. Having our intelligence down so much is kind of a bummer, because like I basically need to spend a few levels just to, you know, get it up to something that I enjoy. Like I really do like tinkering. It's one of my favorite things, and I probably want to make, you know, spec into tinkering in this game as well. What do you mean can't attack, can't cook? There are no hostiles nearby, I promise. There's a turtle and a boar. There's that animation I love so much. Yeah, so I guess to like cap that off, you know, I didn't know what to expect from Caves of Qud when I first started playing it. But when I hit that slam button and I just saw an enemy like get smashed through a brick wall, it was just one of the coolest things, because I really wasn't expecting it. You know, I was expecting this, you know, Qud to be really primitive, you know, like very stats based, I guess, number based. Like it, you know, the joke is that, hey, what are you doing? Are you playing a spreadsheet kind of thing? And so you expect just like numbers, you know, you just mash in enemies and then the numbers pop up. So when I saw an enemy smash through a wall, I was like, wait a minute, that's way too cool for this. This is just a spreadsheet, the game. What are we doing smacking enemies through brick walls? That's really cool. And I know, like, animation wise, there basically isn't really an animation, but even just like conceptually, the idea of smashing, like someone smashing someone through a brick wall was so cool. I couldn't really get over it, and I never will. Okay, so we asked the farmer where we were. Let's not get lost in the hills. I don't mind getting lost in the marsh. That's fine. Totally okay with getting lost in the marsh. Regain your bearings. Okay, let's get to Jopa. Get to Jopa, hand in our quests, and hey, there's our first new rust wells in the bag for this new series. Talk to Argive. Take the wire. Did we get a lacquered something? Also, what are these strange tubes? Oh, let's have Argive tell us. Strange tubes. They could actually not be a folding chair, because I've found some really good stuff in Rustwells. 12 drams to find out what this is. It is a missile launcher, actually. It's a missile launcher. All right. That's cool. That's really exciting. Also, I gotta say the new tiles for cells are so cool. I love them so much. Actually, all of the new tiles are amazing. I love them. I love the new tiles. There's some of my favorite additions. Who are the Brathermites? I accept your task. Accept the task, and that'll do it for the first episode of Pritri Putra, our cybernetic, basically Frankie. We're just going to be punching enemies through walls and having a good old time. And this is a really easy build for me to kind of ramp up into. So we'll get to see the new early game stuff, and then if I'm playing well, maybe we'll get to see some of the new late game stuff. And who knows, maybe this will be the game I actually finally beat Caves of Qud. Doubt it, to be honest, but one can hope. Definitely hit that like button and consider subscribing if you're new to my content, and I'll see you guys next time for some more Caves of Qud. Take it easy.